All right. This was a weird week because of all the news and all the crap we had to deal with this week. So let's take a look at the week. We started with news right off the jump to start the week, and then we finished with all this news. We had major reactions in the market, but we maneuvered through these charts pretty nicely, if I must say so myself. Next week's a little calmer, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, some days with no news. Next week's going to be a little easier to handle, I imagine. Tuesday's obviously the major day. All right. As far as content creation, to start this week, I wanted to focus on a little bit of the beginner mentality here. So I put out a video off of someone's comment in the community, mindset, podcasting moment, beginner struggles, because that's how they want it to be. The video didn't get a lot of attention, but I would say give it a watch. If you never know. You never know what clicks for you with stuff like that. And then eventually, I also added a little bit of a mindset conversation for beginners. And just, we have to remember that one of the most important things in trading is why are we making the decisions we make? And that a certain way of trading can affect you long term. You will inevitably, just run into that wall face fucking first because of the choices that you've been making. You create these habits, and it makes it hard to see the possibility of disaster when you're doing things incorrectly the whole time and you're still succeeding doing it, but just getting away with it. So I discussed that on both those videos. We made a lot of content this week, even though there was a bank holiday, and that's that, right? So it's been a very good week. So let's discuss, let's break it down. Let's see what we did well, what we did shit, and then go from there. All right. So first and foremost, we begin with the most obvious thing, right? The cleanest chart right now. GBP, JPY. Now, the week started with me getting absolutely nothing in here. It just ascended and ascended, never gave enough retracement. I missed on pretty much everything for the first 3-4 days of the week. And then eventually the market finally came back to one of my positions. Now, remember, I had to lower the frame because that was the only way we were going to find our way in here. This chart is just not trying to get there. If I go to an even smaller wave, it is that bullish right now. So I had to find my way in here using some micro work. If you don't know, I've already made micro videos, right? So if you go in the EDU, most recently, I've made some microstructure videos. Hold on. Oh shit, I did not add them into the EDU yet. They are right here. So I'm going to add that probably this weekend. Microframe mistakes. This video was created last month. Both links are there here as well. This is the post from June 28th. So I'm going to add this to today's end of the week recap caption because this is the other one. All right, there's two of them. There's the video from Focus on the Lower Frame. In this video, I take 3 different setups. This video got a lot of love, and then there's the other one. So there's 2 micro frame videos. There's nothing wrong with using a lower frame. I just feel like there's a right way to do it and a completely shit way to do it that a lot of people kind of approach it the shit way. For me, I wanted to make sure it was still bullish. So let's look at the daily to see why it is that I believe that it still made sense to find the buy on the lower frame. This is exactly why, right? We had our first bearish day. So while you're thinking maybe this is now going to go bearish, I'm thinking I'm going to go with the pressure and the actual bias of the market, which is bullish. The market just retraces it to 61.8, 70 level, 78.6, makes it real easy, lower frame confluence, right? It stayed there for a couple of hours. Either you do it or you don't. Then the market eventually takes off. I actually adjusted this a little bit because I was slightly lower. My pending order was lower. I was at 78.6. It would have missed, but I ended up just getting in at a higher price because that would have been the 4th time this week that would have happened to me on just different charts. So I wasn't going to let this one get away from me, and that's the way that I went about it. All right. This is not something new. It's the same thing that we always do. I saw a couple of you take this buy, which makes me personally very proud. And then that's it, man. We're still waiting for some sort of breakout. We haven't been able to get the breakout, right? This thing has been very bullish, very easy. This is the 5th or 6th buy on the way up. There's been a lot of activity on both sides of bias, but eventually, like I said a couple of weeks ago, that's it. No more selling, full on bullish, and that's been freaking cake. When we started buying on this chart, when I started buying on this chart, we're now up almost 1,000 pips. I mean, almost 1,200 pips on this. So it hasn't been that hard to understand what you have to do here. It's been buy, and keep buying. And that's that. Now, lessons to some of you, because I did see in some journals. Look, you're paying the price for looking for reversals. You cannot say that you're not looking for reversals. This is the most exaggerated situation that we can normally see in the market, right? This is not something that's hard to understand. Every single fucking day it's been bullish. So if you got caught at multiple sells losing, that's on you. You're just doing things in a way that make absolutely no sense. You're trying to sell in a very bullish market when we also know that fundamentally the yen is so weak right now that it's not going to help you, right? So unless GBP goes bearish, there's no reason for this thing to even drop. So some of these drops are good, right? Some of the drops are quality, right? This breakout here, you could see it here, right? The creation of resistance, eventually the breakout, nice solid quality sell. You could even take the Fibonacci on the lower frame for this. These are quality sells. But that you believe that it's going to be bearish all out is a mistake, because look where it ends. Negative 27. That's my turn. Boom. We're in there. Done. Right? And then it's just been easier to approach the buy. That's just, there's no better way to say it. There's no cleaner way to say it. The buy is just easier right now. In order to take a sell sentiment as a switch, there's no better way to gauge sentiment than breakouts. Breakouts and structural breaks. That's what changes everything. So right now, we continue on with the same markups. These prices that you see lit up in gold, these are prices where I have alerts set because I want to know if it ever breaks. I will take a sell if the market breaks it apart. But for now, I'd rather lose on a buy and then switch over to the sell than lose on a sell and watch the buy continue on, because it just doesn't make any sense. And we continue on with GCAD. All right, so let's go here with GCAD. Now, GCAD was looking real good to start the week. 1, 2, eventually higher price. This was nothing. Eventually, the market did find bullishness. And what ended up happening for me personally was I was in on the sell one more time. It was looking okay. I thought maybe the market just didn't have the pressure, and the market just did what it's supposed to, which broke the high. Once it broke the high, I had some time to figure this out. As you can see, 1, 2, 3 hours before news hit. Okay, so I was in the negatives about 20, 25 pips. I cut the trade down because news is going to hit, and I would have been able to maybe break this even or mitigate loss, but it went 62 pips to the upside. That being said, we kind of knew that was a possibility after the break of the channel, right? We also know this thing is bullish. Okay, it's been bullish. We were in a very strong seller structure. I just made my choice and end the story. There's really no other explanation other than that. End the story. I made a choice. I was profitable this week on GCAD, but ultimately it ended up going where I wanted to go, and my plan remains the same. I will not change my mind unless the market breaks this out completely. Other than that, I'm going to follow through with what I said. The higher frame plan is still in play here. I haven't changed my mind on that. And it didn't go how I thought it would go. All right. It didn't continue to drop. But look, listen, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different opportunities, with the smallest opportunity being about 40 pips. Not the best trades in the world. The market finally found its bullishness again, and it is what it is. No thank you to the CAD being a complete disaster. So that's that. For right now, yeah, back to bullish. We broke channel. I will switch this over. I will turn this into an all-out buying situation if the market breaks that 78.6/80 level structure. So we start showing support here, I'm out of here. But for right now, it's still a sell. We're still very much still alive on the sell possibility. The break of the channel is a short-term wave. This would create a higher frame resistance line if it was to work out. So patience is what I'm showing to start the week next week. Gold. We started the week looking for more buys, as I always do. I have not been bearish on this in years. Now, what ends up happening is I start the week safely, right? On the webinar on Sunday, it looked like we wanted to support, but I told you, embrace liquidity grab. Market drops for 50 pips, closes in zone, eventually takes off for 165 pips. Comes back, grabs liquidity again, 100 pips. Comes back, puts me in drawdown, which AKA grabs liquidity again. There we go, 150 pips. Turns it into a Fibonacci line now. I didn't do anything with that, and we start taking off, and the rest is history, because the rest of this I walked you through, which is, good old reverse Fibonacci breakout, right? Easy money. the work of this resistance point finally undid. This thing skyrockets for 300 pips. That means that by midweek, I was already up 400 pips on my third attempt from the same price. So I already had a couple of hundred pips in pocket. And then this thing just takes off. I didn't have to put a lot of risk on this. Cherries on top. And this thing just really takes off. Now, what sucks is I wanted this position and never got here. It never got low enough. Like I said earlier, that would have been the GJ situation would have been the fourth or fifth time that my pending order got missed in a week. So I wasn't willing to let that happen. One of them had to get risk. And there we go. 300 pips to the upside because of news. The news movement was vicious. Just to make it clear, this is, let me go even lower. This is the news movement right here. That's 139 pips in a minute and a half, and then eventually 234 pips in 3 minutes. Just to make it clear that it may go where you think it's going to go, but if you had an entry here +1, you're out. If you had an entry here or something here and your stop loss is too tight, you're out. Right? It's just the way it goes. You cannot predict how that's going to move. You can know ultimately where it's going to go, bullish or bearish. That makes sense because there is a connection between the volatility of news and the permission to move erratically but still follow structure. That's something that I personally believe in. But all that being said, at the end of the day, you don't know how those micro movements are going to look. You have no idea how that's going to play out. And that's why an unprotected trade in the market makes absolutely no sense. You can't go after the fact and say, oh man, look, if I would have held it, it would have done this. Yeah, sometimes if you would have held it, it would have been 300 pips in your direction. And sometimes you get stopped out 200 pips and then it goes 300 pips in your direction. Not worth the risk. It's only one day, one moment. Why would I bet my future, the long term, over one situation? It makes no sense. All right, especially something based on luck, not skill. So going into next week for gold, look at the amount of buying that I've done on this. It's been insane how many buys we've thrown on gold. We've been very successful on this chart. I think we get sometimes, it's a little bit of a humble brag to remind you, listen, this isn't easy, right? Just because we make it look easy is one thing, but it isn't easy. And the fact that we're this accurate doesn't mean it's easy. It means that I'm always paying attention. When we start the week, I'm talking about this. Every single day, I'm talking about this. It's important that you understand how many micro decisions are made day in, day out. Even simple things. When we started the week, looking for that liquidity grab, right? These things matter. Like the reverse Fibonacci's, things like that we're constantly doing, knowing that we're inside of targets, right? That was something else this week. We knew this was a target. Eventually, the market just blows through everything and supports over. I just never got that additional entry. Now, all that being said, we have traveled since the 27th of May, almost 1,000 pips. Do you remember when it was really bearish? This is the game, right? You cannot get caught up in one candle, one move. You have to look at it as this whole moving monster. For right now, where we're currently at, where it looks like we're dying out, is the 61.8 Fibonacci. I can get rid of this, right? That 61.8 Fib is everything. I can get rid of some of these markups. Don't really need that. Don't really need that. These are all my little timing mechanisms and shorthand that I put on the screen so I can remember what I'm looking at. And that's that. This is how we're looking. So what does that mean? I have to embrace retracement going into next week. I have to. At the very least, we're going to work this little micro level and see if we can come back down to earth a little bit, right? The 38 level of this short frame fib. But that all means retracement regardless. I'm still asking for about 120 pips of retracement just to begin paying attention. So let me draw that up. I want the zone to be about 15 pips, so we're going to go even lower. Notice I said lower, not higher. And that's it, man. That's how I'm going to work it. I'm going to work it off the sensitive break point, right on the 50, close to the 61.8, or under the 38. Right, 130 to 140 pips of retracement is what I'm asking for here. What is it going to take for me to buy up here? It's going to take an attempt to go bullish and a resupport for me to actually buy from this point. You have to be smart about what you're doing right now. Look at it higher frame. What do you see? This is a sensitive price point and breakout position that was once bearish, 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 and we're back now. Could we break it out and head to the high? Yeah, that could definitely happen. But I want to see it happening. Think GCAD, right? So think GCAD as far as how much work it took for this thing to break itself back. Think gold. Here, this is the market working that price, working the way back up. Couldn't find it. Goes lower to the real higher frame position, works and works and works until finally, bang. And then it's all she wrote. Those are the trades that you want to look for. Something to think about when you're trying to take these sells in a bullish market. This goes out to the people who sell a lot. Look, if you're good at cutting trades, you do what you want to do because the map is the map. And when we hit a target, you can find great sells. And when we use that lower frame intelligently, you can find great sells in a buyer's market 1,000%. But if you are not good at cutting entries, you are one bad day away from destroying everything and putting yourself back in where you're saying, damn, am I ever going to learn this? Because you think that the answers are in the lines and the fibs and the channels and the method and the concepts and the methodologies. No. For that particular person that I'm discussing, the individual who inevitably gets smoked by one move, the answer is in the choices that they make day in and day out and the things they get away with. All right? That's why that was the topic this week, because I expected something like this, not this exaggerated, but something like this. Once we found that support, that's it. Once we found that support, the market, it's going to be tough for this thing to go lower. We're still going to play it safe. But once the market starts creating higher lows, let's check that daily out. And the daily is just showing you that 3-day consolidation. Previous day, also last week, what do we got? 38 continuation. So where are we more than likely going to head to? Negative 61.8. From there, the market supports over that point. That's it. That's it. It's over. If you're still selling, what are you doing? What do you expect to happen here? You expect the market to give you one of these? We're not paying attention to the higher frame if we're doing that. We broke channel and still brought it back. It shows you the strength of the gold buy right now. Just like GJ, and it's not like we don't discuss this week in and week out. Just like GJ, you cannot ignore the fundamental side of the dollar not being the safest place, so they go right to gold, right? Not just the dollar, other currencies as well. Gold is the haven right now. It's pretty damn obvious. They're not trying to let this thing tank. Now, if we start talking peace out there in the world, I saw something about Putin saying that if Donald Trump was to be, he didn't say Donald Trump specifically, I don't think, but he said if, the right regime is reelected in America, which means Donald Trump, that he would be willing to talk peace in Ukraine and everything else, right? That says something right there. These are things that you must consider, all right? So that's pretty much it. For me, on gold, listen, we had a fucking... This I don't get too excited about trades. That's not me. And I try to hold myself together with the emotions, right? I don't really... a little bit of celebration, and then I move on. That's just how I am. But stuff like this makes me feel damn good. Why? Because everyone's looking bearish. That's why. You think we're the only ones with channels seeing the sell to the sell to another sell? 3 weeks of bearishness in a row? I pointed all this out to you on the webinar. It doesn't mean shit, because once it gets to that higher frame position, that's the Zapz way. That's the Zapz way 101, the key, the concept, one of the holy grail concepts. Once the higher frame targets are hit, I don't care what that mid frame says or that lower frame says. This right here matters. It matters. That means that this right here also matters. These markups have been here for months. Can't lose sight of it just because it's wiggling around everywhere else. And that's that. A great fucking week on gold this week. Just in case you haven't realized yet, 100, 600 pips with 2 entries on the way up. That's a 1,000 pip week on gold this week. And my entries freaking missed. This one missed, and I would have had even more risk down here if it would have just dropped a little bit more. Just a little bit more. That's all I needed. A little bit more to match, and we would have been in there with even deeper risk. It is what it is. All right, and we continue on. Let's go here with GBP USD. Now, GBP USD this week, a little bit of pain, right? A little bit of, why are you doing this to me right now? The market did not test my position of entry. I wanted a lower position. Never got there the second time. That sucks, okay? To say it clearly, that sucks. It sucks when you're right on the money about where this thing's going to go, and then eventually it just takes off. So, as always, we have plan A, plan B. Plan B was reverse Fibonacci work. There it is again. Right? This is something that you've been taught. This is something that's in your EDU, something we'll always bring up, something that's on webinars, on power hours, and assessments. It's one of my favorite tools. A lot of people don't know how to use the fibs correctly. I've learned how to use the fibs through what I'm doing right now, consistently using them. You can't shortcut this. Eventually, the market starts working 61.8, 79, 78.6, and continuation point of the sell. Makes it real easy to understand that this is not bearish. All right? This is not bearish. And then Banksy, 98 pips to the upside, another rejection, and once again, higher highs, right? Makes it real easy to understand. One more buy. So right now, currently running 2 fresh buys from this week. Look, it's not what I wanted. I wanted 3, 4 entries on the way up on GU. This was the position that I was wanting, right? You could see this is the sensitive buyer break point. Market just retraced to that point, closed multiple days, and it just missed me. That's it. And then took off. That is an easy trade to take, 100%. From here now, next target. Now, to take another buy is tough. Why? Because now you're so high up that what you're looking for is about 85 pips. So what you want anyway is some sort of retracement. I can keep these same prices because they're all break points. This has been a little choppy, so I'd rather have more alerts and just not pivot as high. I want it to come back. If it supports at any point on the hourly, I'm in. I'm in next week, all right? Why? Why is that the case? Well, it's the case because we've shown all out breakout. Breakout right here, continuation right here, and all that's left is one more. So what am I looking for? 61.8, right? That's not right on the 38, but it's close enough in my opinion because when I take off the wick, it looks like that. Bang, bang. So that's how I want to do it. Because I drew it on the wick and off the wick, I gave myself an extra alert. I know that's not for everybody, so if anything, take it off the wick and go with two positions. I don't know where it's going to retrace to. That's the key here. Thought process, right? These updates aren't just, hey, follow me here, do this, do that. It's also about thought process. What am I thinking about? What are the things that I know are obstacles? Well, I know that we've broken out, and I also know that GU is not a big traveler. So if I take a full-on Fibonacci, it still puts me at continuation points. No matter how I draw this up, confluence for retracement is right here where I have it marked up. There's no right or wrong for the approach. I think the wrong would be to sell right now, right? To look for the sell just because we're inside of highs. I'm not a fan of that. Not to say it can't happen because anything can happen in the space. Probability. This has also been very slow, which causes a little bit of sloppiness in the approach. So how do you clear up sloppiness? Allow the higher frame to create. All right, that's how you clear it up. Every week, that's what we do. US 30. US 30, the sell from similar positions, ended up going for 290 points. US 30 was flat this week. Very flat. Very, very flat. So the way that I look at it is I don't have to change anything because there's no reason to change anything. I don't like this for seller structure at the moment, but I'm going to stick with my plan until this breaks apart. What's it going to take for me to buy? Well, honestly, what I'm waiting on is to see if we actually break to the upside, and then if we support over the same price that I'm using for resistance right now, I'll work to buy off that price. But to start the week next week, I'm still bearish because there's no reason to switch it. All we did was find resistance on the weekly level one more time. Right, so we'll see what next week looks like, especially if we are able to re-break back below the body of this whole week and last week, which means that I don't have to change any of my prices. Everything stays exactly the same because why am I telling you all this? Nothing happened this week. Completely flat. Right, it was a waste of time. Not a waste of time. This one, good trades, decent trades, but it didn't really boom like other weeks. All right, and that's it. NZDUSD ended up giving me some decent buy opportunities that I completely missed. Missed this one. All right. Missed this one. And missed this one. I was waiting for the market to bring it back. And this is one of those weeks where some things went great. Other things were complete disappointments. I don't want to pivot on this right now. I'm kind of, this happens to me with charts sometimes. I like to admit it to myself when the chart's just aggravating me because it's going to make me create things try to do things that are not there. And when I look at this chart, it is extremely annoying how many times I've been missed for buys by a pip or two. So this is the week where GU missed me by a pip or two a couple times. Gold missed me once. NZDUSD missed me once or twice. Like I'm over it. So going into next week, here's what I'm looking for. Let's go daily. On the daily, we've started running the buy. So let's see if I can find retracement for this buy. I'm going to do two things here. All right. I'm going to draw on the higher frame buyer position to get that real higher frame 38 continuation. All right. And then I also want to have a more aggressive approach, just working the break right here. So creating on this daily candle, right, for a continuation off the 61.8. So that's going to be plan A, plan B going into next week, because honestly, it's gotten away from me. Because if all my trades missed, normally I just hold and wait going into next week, but all my trades missed. So what do I do now? I wait this out. And this looks like a breakout to me, right? I wanted it to go lower. That never happened. That missed by about 16 pips. Then the retracements on these micro levels, they all missed by singular pips. It is annoying. But again, these updates aren't just about, look at me, I'm so great. And it's also not about the map without thought, right? The thought process is what's important to me. These situations that I'm discussing with you happen to you all the time. It happens to me all the time. How you approach afterwards is what makes or breaks you. Your decision making. So if I just go, fuck it, next week I'm just gonna buy blindly, even though we're inside of targets, right? Even though, yeah, if I buy from here, the most I can expect out of this is 22 pips. Then I'm not thinking. It makes no sense for me to do anything right now without retracement. Could it go 100 pips? Yes, but not. This chart is not one of those charts you want to bet your life on that. All right? It's not. It's not gold. It's not GJ. It's not fucking any of them. This is NZDUSD. It's slow, but manageable. Manageable. Imagine you did something stupid, like take a sell here because you saw Fibonacci. You're only down 35 pips in through 2-3 days. You may think of it like, oh, I can't make real money on there. Yeah, you also can't lose it fast. That matters for some of you. It's part of the learning journey. AUDJPY. AUDJPY. I've started setting alerts at every breakpoint, right? So could I have bought on this? Yes. Just like GJ, I would have been able to buy cleanly on this, but I had to make a choice where to pay attention. It's similar to NZDUSD, but AUDJPY, it's so slow when it's out of session. So there's no point in trading it during New York. Next week, it's the same thing. I'm looking for lower highs creation inside of this channel situation that's being formed here. One more time. All right, it's still doing the same things that it's been doing. It breaks channel, and I'm going to get hella aggressive from every gold price that you see lit up here. Every single one has an alert on them, and that's that. There's really nothing else to say. If it keeps going bullish, we'll probably pivot next week. If I find support inside of the prices I'm trying to break and it stays there long enough, then I'll take a buy. But I'm doing that on GJ right now. I'm doing that. I got clean situations on other charts. This is the one that I'm trying to hit a home run on. So that's the little secret here. I don't really care about the intraday one right now. I care about the possibility of the reversal and paying attention to it every single day, just in case, because that's a home run. If the market corrects this even slightly, okay, that's 80, that's 160, 300 pips. That's the one. That's what I'm looking for here. That doesn't mean I start picking the high like an asshole, right? It doesn't mean that. What it means is I pay attention to that day-to-day structure. I'm looking for the first day where the market goes enough and breaks that first fib, all right, and starts creating that lower high. That's what gives me the possibility of this thing dropping. Why? Profit taking, simply. They got to sell off the profit, sell off the gains. Sentiment switches, right? Coupled with a little bit of news, it'd make for a nice, solid play. I don't really care about buying right now. Is that a mistake? Maybe, but I have cleaner buys and more comfortable buys on GJ, which is like hella obvious, on gold, on GBP USD, and the last one. All right, even though it wasn't the best week, Bitcoin. So this week was a week of headaches. I think news had a lot to do with it, right? A lot of back and forth. the bank holidays, and blah, 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 right? So the week started strong, right? We had a nice solid play through the weekend. That was great. Some micro plays here for like 500-600 pips. Eventually the market drops again. Those are 1,200 pip trades. Market drops to another price. I told you I was going to keep doing that. 1,800 pips. Profits were being made. Issue was that when I would make money, I would risk that for the next trade. And the market kept dropping. So it meant that my profits were getting ripped apart by the losses, and I would break even or eat up most of the win. If you watched the updates and listened to me, you knew I was doing that because I knew I had the possibility to go bearish. It doesn't mean I'm not going to buy for my prices, especially if I have the flexibility to do so, because I don't lose anything here other than profit. Okay, it's not like I put myself in the negatives for no reason. And the market kept dropping. Now this right here, that is some bullshit because my pending order was there. Okay. My pending order was there and it missed me completely. These are prices that I've marked up now for some time. This right here should have triggered. It is bullshit that it did not trigger because I pyramided in on this. I had 1, 2, 3, and because it's a 61.8 on the full wave, and that did not trigger me in. So I was left to watch, which really fucking sucks. Then the market comes to a higher price. It has ascended into zone, but we haven't created support here, so I got nothing, all right? Currently, I got nada on this chart. Still, though, it was a successful situation this week on Bitcoin, even though we had some back and forth. Look, it happens, all right? Look, this thing, 2,000 pips to the upside, and then just starts melting. It's one of those weeks. There was some negative news also. I saw a couple of pieces of news that had something to do with this. Look, we can't forecast for that. There's no way to know. As you know, it's very random sometimes. But I'm paying attention, right? I'm paying attention to all these micro levels. I'm paying attention to these breakpoints. I would love for the market to find micro support inside of one of these zones, and I will be back to buying. Here's the next deal. It starts with this, okay? Wherever this supports, I'm in. I'm in. The sell, I'm not interested in. Remember, I was once sell heavy on this. And it does suck to watch it drop again. But we've been in sells before, then the market goes back to bullish, and it's just the dance. It's just a dance between us and this chart. That's just the way it goes. I forgot. I don't know why this isn't on my screen, but I know this should be here. Just to remember, this isn't over until it's over. All right? It could drop as much as it wants to drop. Even a slight retracement on this whole deal. It still puts us here. All right? It's still an effective price. These prices that are right in front of our faces, they need to be respected. We know Bitcoin has a lot of sentimental bullish strength. We know that. That's why I finally switched over, because enough is enough. I'm not a crypto bro at all. I don't like the culture. I like crypto. I don't like the culture of crypto. So what I was doing was selling cleanly, and we would win and win, take breaks, win again, right? But eventually I'm like, you know what? Let's start buying. I'm not going to let go on a buyer's asset, and now in retracement, in the retracement that everybody would want to really start buying from. That doesn't make any sense. So for right now, we're sitting pretty, clean chart, nothing to worry about, and I will start buying all over again if I have to. This trend line here is just a timing mechanism, because if we break trend, I'm in one more time all over again. So there's a lot of positions that are lit up and alerted for a reason. This thing moves a lot, and I don't need all of them to work. I need one of them to work. Now let's do a quick little recap here just to wrap your mind around some things. This price here, I get if you don't take that. But this one right here was a little channel break that I gave you. I updated, and that little move right there is 500 pips. Then it comes back, and that puts you up 500 pips again. Then the market goes lower and supports. That's multi-hour support. That right there, 1,000 pips. This right here, multi-hour support. That's 1,800 pips. And even if you did it again, you had a couple of hours to figure out, let me get the fuck out of here, with 800 pips of possibility here. So these are protectable trades, partial trades that you can partial and put the stop loss in the negatives, and all that'll happen is it'll cancel it out, right? Strong partials are 90%, 10% left running, and see what happens, right? These trades have time. This is not something where I go quickly. I always wait for those closures because you never fucking know with this chart. That being said, management on Bitcoin is the number one thing you need to focus on. If you go all or nothing on this chart, you're going to get slaughtered. That's the one thing that I've learned through the years of trading this particular asset. Lock up the profits because it always comes back. It loves to stick around, but once it's gone, right? Management, your ability to get rid of the entry, your ability to take profit, stick to the stop loss, not drag that SL. It's even worse than gold, I feel, when it comes to that. You have to be solid with the management. And that's that. That's it. I got nothing left. We did a lot of talking this week. It was a long week. Some of you have hangovers, and I understand. And we are good to go. There is no webinar this weekend. The schedule was posted at the end of every month before we start the fresh brand new month and posted twice in the first week. I am also going to post it in the caption to remind you that this Wednesday we have a webinar. So this is the end of the week recap as we go into the brand new week. But I'll see you again on Wednesday on the webinar. And, of course, I update every single day because you know how it is in here. And that's it. We're always around. We're always putting in the work. And I am here for you. If you need anything, all you got to do is message me. As always, happy trading. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good weekend. Happy trading.